Hello everyone, welcome back to Old Dad's Modeling Mess. And in today's video, I start in on the mighty Soviet SU-85M Tank Destroyer. This is a Dragon Models kit number 6096. And if you know me, I love the T-34s, especially the T-34-85s. Love those things. Well, this is basically that without the turret. I play World of Tanks off and on, and I actually have this tank in the game. And so it's kind of special to me because in the game, this was the very first tank that I actually 3-marked. And if you don't know what that is, that means you have to play that particular vehicle better than 95% of the player base. Okay, so you've got to do a lot to get 3 marks on your barrel for a tank. You know, well, you got to do good anyway. So when this kit was in that model hall, I was drooling. I couldn't wait. I was like, oh yeah, I have big plans for this. You know, originally I was going to do it up just like my tank is in the game, but then I ran into something else that I thought would look cooler. But you'll have to wait till later to see that one. Okay, so enough with nerding out. Let's get on with the build here. Let's just put it this way here. I'm hoping that this idea I have works out. Yeah. Like I said, I've been waiting for this build because basically it's a T-34, and those go together pretty easily. Especially this kit here. This Dragon kit isn't the most detailed, but in the end, you'll never know it isn't. As you know, with most T-34s, I started with the shock and strut covers on the inside of the hull. Now, I do actually have plans on getting a better detailed version of this kit. I want to find one that has a workable suspension, because I actually want the shocks and the springs and stuff to actually move inside there. I think that would be kind of neat. I used to do that back when I was younger on my model cars and stuff like that. I'd take 2 little pieces of aluminum tubing, and then one that would fit inside the other, and then on the outside I put a spring out of a ballpoint pen, and then that way there you could compress the suspension. You know, back in the day that was really cool. So I'd like to do something like that with this. But as you can see, this actually went really quick. I mean, you know, I'm basically done with the suspension parts here on this already. So yeah, it's a basic build, but you know, just because it doesn't have a whole bunch of detail or any of that stuff doesn't mean at the end it doesn't look good, especially with what I have planned for it. You know, sometimes you can buy all the photo etch and all that other stuff, and you can do all these really cool things and stuff like that. You know, with this one here, with it being just a basic kit, I think I did add a few extra little things, like a couple of toolboxes, I believe, to it. But no photo etch, none of that stuff. You know, I mean, as you can see, the last drive cover is going on now, which means, you know, for me that's good, because now I can start on the top of the hull and stuff. Normally I'd be complaining about how the vents are molded, because to me it makes it really hard to highlight them. And what I mean by that is the the tops are often the same height as the hull. So that outer ring there, with it being the same height as the hull, when you go to dry brush it and stuff, you're highlighting stuff you're not wanting to be. So, but with this one here, like I said, with what I have planned for it, I didn't let that bother me on this one here. I, like I said, what I've got planned, you're not even going to know. You're not going to be looking for them. You're not going to be like, oh man, those vents look like garbage or anything like that, because your eyes are going to be focused on the other stuff that's going on that I did with this. And that, to me, that's where it was. I mean, I was just in the groove. I just kept listening to my music and carried on with the build. I put the vents in and the rear hatch cover on and decided it was time to glue the top and bottom together so I could move on with the rest of the hatches and covers. Uh, but I don't know about you guys, but I've been noticing a lot lately that some kits, when you go to put the top and bottom together, the sponsons have these horrible gaps in them. Don't worry, I did fill them in. I used some sheet styrene and just regular Tamiya putty to fill them in, but I did that. I waited till later to do that once I got done with everything else with the hull before it was time to prime. But look at that. There's just, yeah, that was bad. My main goal right now is to get it together, get the hatches and covers, all that on, because I want to get the mantlet on. Once I get the mantlet on, then I can do the armor texturing on the front of it before I add like the grab handles and stuff like that, because those I'm going to make out of those out of wire. And then instead of, you know, having stuff on there and then trying to do the armor texturing around it, that's why I left the barrel off, because I didn't want to get any on the barrel, because I didn't have a metal one, so I didn't want to have to do any extra sanding or any of that stuff, because you know how that goes. I mean, we've all been there before where we've gotten something where and then it's caused issues. So my plan is not to have anything in the way while I'm doing the armor texturing. That way there later on it'll be easier for me, because I can drill a hole through the armor texturing no problem, but it's a pain in the butt when you get armor texturing stuck on the grab handles and everything, trying to scrape it off or sand it off or break the grab handle, you know, whatever. So that was my intentions behind this. I don't remember why I pulled that apart there. For the life of me, I can't remember, but I remember I did have a little bit of a issue here with the commander's hatch, because I would think that the vision port would be facing forward, and looking in the directions, it's got it facing towards the back. So that kind of, I was trying to figure out why, but you know how it is. I got it on there, and as you can see, I've already re-glued that back together, the hull. So I got the commander's hatch on there, and while I'm waiting for everything to dry there, I figured I'd go ahead and put the mantlet, the barrel and stuff like that together. And I just kept doing like normal, listening to my music, and kept on building. now it's time to get the mantlet on and get the mantlet and the fenders on. And one thing that I really, really like about this kit was the fenders themselves. They were already pre-damaged, so that that was a win for me. I didn't have to make my own and all that, out of brass or anything, because I liked the way that they looked. I really did. But here in a few, I don't know if you remember when I said I was going to leave the barrel off when I did the armor texturing. Yeah, I was so into the build and what I was doing. You'll see here in a little bit after I get the front fenders on it here. I put the barrel on because I'm wanting to look at it, and I like I said, I really like the way the fenders look. So I put the fenders on, and then I put the barrel on, and I'm sitting there looking at it, and I'm trying to decide if I want to leave the, if I want to take a fender off or not, because they're damaged and they look good, but I also, sitting here looking at it like this right now, I also kind of like the look without the fender. It kind of gives you that tiger-esque look and feel to it. And so my mind was going on with that, and I completely forgot about the barrel being in there. I'm not gonna lie, I did all the armor texturing and everything like that, and I was in the process of putting the grab handles on. I made them out of wire, and I was putting those on, and I picked it up by the barrel, and it fell off. Like, oh shit! I was like, oh damn, I forgot. And then I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I was gonna leave that off so I could do the armor texturing. Oh, it's done. Damn. But I'm sure you guys know how it is. Sometimes just when you get going, you just go with the flow, and that's what I did. I was just I was riding with it. I was just like, damn, this is going together so quick, so nice, and with what I plan on doing with it, that's racing through my mind also, and I'm like, man, so I've got all this. Luckily though, as I was listening to my music and stuff, the last couple of songs was kind of a little more rockish, so I was like, I better slow down before I mess up. And right here's where I was looking at, and I'm thinking, damn, should I take the fenders off or not? And then I decided, nope, I'm going to leave them on and start my armor texturing. If you guys don't know or want to know how I do my armor texturing, I do have a video that I will link up here in the top corner for you to check it out. It's just how I do it. It's similar to most others, but that's just how I do it. So check it out, and I'm gonna pop my music back on, and I'm gonna get this armor texturing done. And as always, guys, thank you for watching my videos. And if you do enjoy this type of content, please don't be afraid. Drop a like and a comment below. This lets YouTube know that you guys like watching my videos, which is a huge help. If you're not already, consider subscribing to the channel. That will help it grow. Helps me make more content for all of you guys. Plus, it gives me an excuse to go buy more model kits, which is always a huge win. And it's free for you guys. Doesn't cost you a thing. Also, in case you guys don't know, we do have a Discord for the channel. It's nothing really fancy, but there are channels in there for everybody to just come in and talk and hang out, stuff like that, you know. We have a channel in there for you guys to post pictures of your builds. That way there you can show off your work. And trust me, we have some people in there that, man, they're killing it. We have Reimagine Models. He's another YouTuber on here, and oh my God, he's got some amazing builds. So, you know, it's worth it just to come check out his stuff. Okay. Then we have the build ideas. So if you guys want to see something, you know, built on the channel, you know, come in there and post in there. Let us know. We'll see what we can do. There is also a tips and tricks, so you can share your knowledge with others and help them out. And finally, I have a channel in there that I post pictures of the builds that I do here on the channel. I don't do them like, you know, 10 or 12 of them a day, or just whenever I get a chance, I'll post some pictures in there and stuff like that, you know. So join up. It's free, just like subscribing. Enjoy the pictures. And until the next video, I will see you guys later. Bye.